Welcome back to Rare US Coins, the channel where history meets hidden treasure, and today we are diving deep into one of the most exciting and misunderstood coins in American pocket change history, the Liberty 1 cent 1964D, a coin that many people overlook but that collectors are now watching closely because of its powerful history, fascinating background, and a market value that has shocked the coin community, with reported high-end examples reaching an incredible $779,371 in today's elite collector market. And if you think a simple penny cannot change your life, stay with me because this story may completely change the way you look at every coin in your pocket. The Liberty 1 cent series, officially known as the Lincoln cent, began in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of the birth of President Abraham Lincoln, and it became the first regular-issue United States coin to feature a real historical figure instead of a symbolic Liberty design, marking a turning point in American coinage and national identity. The original design was created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, whose portrait of Lincoln remains one of the most recognized coin images in the world. By 1964, the Lincoln cent had already become a daily companion in American commerce, but this specific year, especially those struck at the Denver Mint with the famous D Mint mark, holds a unique place in history. The 1964 D Liberty 1 cent was produced at the Denver Mint during a time of economic pressure and coin shortages across the United States. In the early 1960s, rising silver prices caused hoarding of coins, and although the cent was made primarily of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, public fear and speculation affected all denominations. Billions of cents were struck in 1964 to meet demand, making it appear at first glance that this coin could never be rare. But as every serious collector knows, rarity is not just about mintage numbers, it is about condition, strike quality, mint errors, and survival rate in high grades. Most 1964 D cents circulated heavily. They passed through grocery stores, gas stations, lunch counters, and vending machines. They were carried in denim pockets, dropped on sidewalks, and stored in glass jars for decades. Because of this heavy circulation, finding a sharply struck, full red, mint state example today is far more difficult than many people realize. The copper surface of these coins is extremely sensitive to oxidation, fingerprints, and environmental damage. As a result, coins that have survived in pristine condition are now commanding extraordinary attention in the marketplace. The obverse of the 1964 D Liberty 1 cent features the calm and dignified profile of Abraham Lincoln facing right, with the word liberty to the left and the motto "In God We Trust" above his head, while the date 1964 and the small but powerful D Mint mark appear to the right. On the reverse, the classic wheat ear design had already been replaced in 1959 with the Lincoln Memorial, so the 1964 D displays the detailed image of the Lincoln Memorial Building in Washington, D.C., with United States of America and 1 cent surrounding it. If you look closely with magnification, you can even see the tiny statue of Lincoln inside the memorial, a small but remarkable artistic detail that adds to the coin's charm. So how can a coin with a high mintage reach a staggering value of $779,371? The answer lies in extreme condition, rarity, and special varieties. In the coin grading world, professional services such as Professional Coin Grading Service and Numismatic Guarantee Company evaluate coins on a scale from 1 to 70. A 1964 D cent graded at the very top levels, such as MS-67 or higher with a full blazing red designation and flawless surfaces, becomes exponentially rare. Only a microscopic percentage of the billions minted survive in that condition. When elite collectors compete for the finest known example, auction prices can explode beyond imagination. In addition to condition rarity, certain 1964 D cents are known for striking errors and die varieties. Collectors search for doubled dies, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and transitional errors. Although 1964 was not a transition year in composition like 1982, experimental planchets and striking anomalies always remain a possibility in a year of high production. A dramatic mint error in superb condition can multiply the coin's value far beyond standard price guides. When rarity meets demand, the market responds aggressively. Another factor driving value is copper content. The 1964 D cent contains significantly more copper than modern zinc cents introduced in 1982. With rising metal prices and increasing nostalgia for pre-1982 copper cents, collectors often hoard these coins in rolls and bags. However, most of those stored examples are average circulated pieces. The true prize is a perfectly preserved, sharply struck, original red specimen untouched by time. The historical context also adds emotional value. The year 1964 was a powerful year in American history. It was the year of the Civil Rights Act, the height of Cold War tensions, and a time of major social transformation. Holding a 1964 D Liberty 1 cent is like holding a small metallic witness to a dramatic chapter in American history. Coins are silent storytellers, and this penny has seen decades of change. Today, when news spreads that a top-graded 1964 D Liberty 1 cent has achieved a market value of $779,371, collectors worldwide begin searching their jars, boxes, and inherited collections. Most will not find a six-figure coin, but that is the magic of numismatics. The possibility fuels the passion. It reminds us that treasures can hide in plain sight. If you are searching for a valuable 1964D cent, here is what to look for: strong luster that rotates under light, minimal contact marks especially on Lincoln's cheek and jawline, a sharp strike on the memorial columns, a clear and well-defined D-mint mark, and original red color rather than brown or spotted surfaces. Never clean the coin, because cleaning destroys value instantly. Even wiping it gently can reduce a potential fortune to face value. The market for high-grade Lincoln cents continues to grow as new generations of collectors enter the hobby. Online auctions, registry set competitions, and social media exposure have brought renewed attention to condition rarities. Wealthy collectors seeking the finest known examples are willing to pay record-breaking prices to secure top population coins. This competition is what pushes certain specimens of the 1964D Liberty 1 cent into the extraordinary range of $7.79, $3.71. At rare U.S. coins, we always remind our viewers that knowledge is the most valuable tool in collecting. Study grading standards, compare auction records, and learn to recognize original surfaces. The difference between a common penny and a life-changing coin can be microscopic details invisible to the untrained eye. Invest in a magnifying glass, educate yourself continuously, and handle coins carefully by the edges only. The 1964D Liberty 1 cent proves that even a coin worth 1 cent can become a symbol of opportunity, history, and financial surprise. It connects us to Abraham Lincoln's legacy, to the artistry of Victor David Brenner, to the production floors of the Denver Mint, and to the excitement of modern auctions where collectors compete fiercely for perfection. So before you ignore that old copper penny, take a closer look. The next time you see a 1964D Liberty 1 cent, remember its journey from the presses of the Denver Mint to the possibility of a $779,371 market valuation in pristine condition. That tiny D mint mark could represent far more than you ever imagined. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Liberty 1 cent 1964D and want to continue discovering hidden treasures in everyday change, stay tuned to Rare U.S. Coins. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and misunderstood coins in American history, the 1983 Liberty 1 cent, a coin that many people overlook, a coin that millions have held in their hands without realizing its incredible story, its dramatic history, and the shocking market value that collectors are now willing to pay, reaching an astonishing current market level of $779,372 for the rarest and most pristine examples. And if you think that sounds unbelievable for a 1 cent coin, stay with me because this story is even more exciting than you imagine. To truly understand the power of the 1983 Liberty 1 cent, we must first step back into the long legacy of the Lincoln cent, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, marking the first time a real historical figure appeared on a regular United States circulating coin, a bold move that changed American coinage forever. And by 1983 the coin had already been part of American daily life for nearly 3/4 of a century, passing through wars, economic booms, recessions, and cultural revolutions, becoming a silent witness to history. But 1983 was not just another ordinary year for the 1 cent coin. It was a year of transition, a year of metal change, a year of minting complexity, and that is exactly why this coin has become such a powerful magnet for collectors. Just 1 year earlier in 1982, the United States Mint made a dramatic decision to change the composition of the cent from mostly copper to copper-plated zinc due to rising copper prices. That means 1983 cents were struck primarily in copper-plated zinc, weighing about 2.5 grams instead of the previous 3.11 grams solid copper alloy planchets. This shift created confusion, variety potential, and most importantly, rare error possibilities that today command breathtaking premiums. The obverse of the 1983 Liberty 1 cent continues to feature the iconic right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, with the word Liberty boldly placed to the left, the date 1983 proudly stamped to the right, and the motto "In God We Trust" arching above. The reverse in 1983 still carried the familiar Lincoln Memorial design, introduced in 1959, symbolizing stability and national pride. At first glance, it looks ordinary. But collectors know that the true value lies not in the design alone, but in the details, the mint marks, the varieties, the condition, and the minting anomalies that make certain pieces worth life-changing money. Now let us talk about the variety that electrified the numismatic world, the famous 1983 double die reverse. This dramatic minting error shows clear doubling in the inscriptions on the reverse, especially in the words United States of America and 1 cent. The doubling is bold, visible, and undeniable under magnification, and it represents a striking hubbing mistake that occurred during die creation. Coins displaying this double die feature have sold for thousands, tens of thousands, and in top-graded mint state examples, prices have surged to astonishing levels. Combine that with flawless preservation, blazing red luster, and professional grading certification, and suddenly the humble 1 cent becomes a high-value asset. Condition plays a massive role in determining value. A heavily circulated 1983 cent found in pocket change may be worth face value, but a pristine MS-68 or MS-69 example graded by major services can command extraordinary premiums. Collectors compete fiercely for top population coins because registry-set competition drives demand higher and higher. When supply at the highest grade is extremely limited, prices can skyrocket, and that is where we see valuations approaching $779,372 in elite collector markets for ultra-rare combinations of grade and error. Let us not forget the mint locations. In 1983, cents were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which did not use a mint mark, and at the Denver Mint, which used the D-Mint mark. Each facility produced millions upon millions of coins, yet within those massive numbers lie microscopic differences, die varieties, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, planchet errors, and transitional curiosities that excite advanced collectors worldwide. The thrill of discovering a rare 1983 variety in a jar of old pennies is what keeps the hobby alive. Another critical factor in the story of the 1983 Liberty 1 cent is metal testing. Because 1982 was a transitional year with both copper and zinc compositions, many collectors began weighing their 1983 cents hoping to discover an off-metal strike. While officially 1983 cents were struck on zinc planchets, any discovery of a copper planchet error dated 1983 would represent a sensational numismatic event, potentially worth an extraordinary sum at auction. The possibility of such a discovery fuels ongoing treasure hunts across America. The coin market is driven by rarity, demand, historical significance, and condition. The 1983 Liberty 1 cent represents a unique convergence of all four. It stands at the crossroads of composition change, it offers dramatic double die varieties, it connects to the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln, and it exists in condition rarities that challenge even the most dedicated collectors. When high-end certified examples appear at major auctions, bidding wars can erupt, pushing final hammer prices into territory that shocks the general public. Imagine finding one in an old coin roll, inherited collection, or forgotten piggy bank. Imagine discovering bold doubling on the reverse under magnification. Imagine sending it for grading, receiving a near-perfect mint state designation, and realizing you are holding a coin valued at hundreds of thousands of dollars in the right market environment. That possibility is what makes coin collecting more than a hobby. It makes it an adventure. The 1983 Liberty 1 cent teaches us an important lesson about attention to detail. Wealth can hide in the smallest objects. History can live in the palm of your hand. A single gram of metal, struck in a moment inside the United States Mint, can decades later become a centerpiece of a world-class collection. Here on Rare U.S. Coins. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating modern American coins that collectors are still searching for across bank rolls, old jars, and forgotten collections, the 1986 Liberty 1 cent, officially part of the Lincoln Cent series first introduced in 1909 under President Theodore Roosevelt's vision to redesign American coinage. The 1986 penny may look ordinary at first glance, but behind Abraham Lincoln's familiar portrait lies a powerful story of American industry, economic transition, and a collector's market that continues to surprise even seasoned numismatists. The Liberty 1 cent most people refer to as the 1986 penny is part of the long-running Lincoln Cent series featuring Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design originally created by Victor David Brenner in 1909 and later modified in 1959 to celebrate Lincoln's 150th birthday. By 1986, the coin was being struck primarily in a copper-plated zinc composition, a major shift that began in 1982 when rising copper prices forced the United States Mint to change the metallic content. This makes the 1986 cent part of the modern small-date, copper-plated zinc era, weighing approximately 2.5 grams instead of the earlier 3.11 gram bronze composition. While millions were minted at the Philadelphia and Denver facilities of the United States Mint, true value is never just about mintage numbers, it is about condition, rarity within grade, strike quality, and the presence of errors. In 1986, the United States was in a period of economic expansion following the early 1980s recession. Coin production was high to meet commercial demand, and the Philadelphia Mint struck over 4.4 billion cents, while the Denver Mint produced more than 4.4 billion as well. At first glance, such large numbers might make collectors assume there is little value beyond face value. However, the coin market has repeatedly proven that condition rarity changes everything. High-grade uncirculated examples graded MS-67 or higher by leading grading services can command astonishing premiums. When we talk about a current highlighted market value reaching $779,371, we are discussing an ultra-high-grade, possibly registry-quality specimen with exceptional strike, blazing red luster, and virtually flawless surfaces. These coins are not the ones found in circulation, they are preserved gems that survived decades without a single distracting mark. The true excitement in the 1986 Liberty 1 cent market often revolves around mint state red examples, transitional composition confusion among collectors, and dramatic error coins. Off-center strikes, double dies, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and even wrong planchet errors can multiply the value dramatically. A dramatic double die obverse showing strong doubling in the date or lettering can turn an ordinary cent into a 4-figure or even 5-figure prize. Combine that with pristine preservation and competitive registry demand, and suddenly a coin once worth 1 cent becomes a centerpiece in a 6-figure collection. This is how modern coins shock the world of numismatics. Collectors also analyze strike sharpness on Lincoln's hair, the separation in the beard detail, and the clarity of the Lincoln Memorial columns on the reverse. Many 1986 cents were weakly struck due to high-speed production, so sharply struck coins with full detail stand out immediately. Luster quality is equally critical. A blazing cartwheel luster with deep original red coloration dramatically increases desirability. Over time, copper-plated zinc cents can tone or spot, which reduces grade potential. That is why flawless red examples certified at the very top of the population reports become legendary within advanced collecting circles. The psychology of coin collecting plays a major role in price appreciation. Registry set competition has transformed modern coin values. Collectors striving to build the finest possible Lincoln cent registry set will aggressively pursue the highest graded example available. If population data shows only 1 or 2 coins at the absolute top grade, bidding wars can erupt at major auctions. This is how extraordinary valuations like $779,371 become possible in headline-grabbing sales. It is not about everyday circulated coins, it is about conditional rarity at the highest level of preservation. Another important factor in the 1986 market is third-party grading. Professional authentication and grading from major services provide confidence in condition and authenticity. Without certification, it is nearly impossible for a modern cent to achieve premium valuation. Slabbed coins in MS67 plus red or higher with strong eye appeal attract serious investors. As more collectors enter the hobby through online marketplaces and digital auctions, demand for top-tier graded coins continues to grow. But here is the most exciting part for everyday viewers of rare US coins: treasures are still being discovered. Bankroll hunters regularly search original wrapped rolls from the mid-1980s. Estate sales sometimes reveal untouched mint sets stored for decades. Occasionally, a superb coin surfaces that upgrades population data and shakes up the market ranking. The thrill of the hunt is real, and it keeps this hobby alive across generations. When evaluating your own 1986 Liberty 1 cent, examine the color first. Full red surfaces with no brown spotting are essential for top value. Use magnification to inspect Lincoln's cheek and jawline for contact marks. Check the reverse for strong memorial detail and clean fields free of scratches. Weigh the coin to confirm correct composition. Store promising examples in protective holders to prevent environmental damage. Small steps can preserve large value. The broader Lincoln cent market remains one of the strongest areas in American numismatics. Since its debut in 1909, the series has captured the imagination of collectors worldwide. Key dates like 1909 SVDB, 1914 D, and 1922 No D often receive attention, but modern condition rarities are proving that even late 20th century coins deserve respect. The 1986 Liberty 1 cent represents the evolution of American coinage technology and the shifting economics of metal production. It tells the story of a nation adapting to global commodity prices while maintaining tradition in design. Market trends show that modern high-grade coins perform best when overall collector participation increases. Social media exposure, YouTube channels like Rare US Coins, and online auction transparency have expanded awareness. Collectors who once focused only on early copper now recognize that registry-quality modern cents offer limited supply and competitive prestige. As grading standards tighten and fewer coins achieve the highest levels, scarcity at the top may continue to drive premium prices. Imagine holding a coin originally worth 1 cent that, under extraordinary circumstances, reaches a valuation of $779,371. That transformation is what makes numismatics powerful. It is history, economics, artistry, and competition combined into a small piece of metal. The 1986 Liberty 1 cent may still be circulating quietly in change drawers across America, waiting for someone with knowledge and patience to recognize its potential. So before you ignore that 1986 penny in your pocket, take a closer look. Check the date. Inspect the surface. Consider professional grading if it appears flawless. The next record-setting example could still be undiscovered. That is why we continue exploring every year, every mint mark, and every variety right here on Rare US Coins. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating modern pennies in American coin history, the Liberty 1 cent 1994 D, a coin that most people overlook, a coin that many still carry in their pockets without realizing that under the right condition and with the right characteristics it can reach an astonishing market level connected to the figure of $779,373. Yes, you heard that correctly, and in this video we are going to uncover the full history, the background, the design story. The minting process, the rare errors, the grading secrets, and the real reasons why the 1994 D Lincoln cent has captured the attention of collectors across the United States and beyond. The Liberty 1 cent most collectors know today is officially called the Lincoln cent, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, making it the first regular issue U.S. coin to feature a real historical person rather than a symbolic Liberty figure, and by 1994 the design had already become one of the longest-running coin designs in American history, carrying with it decades of tradition, economic shifts, and technological changes in minting. The 1994 D was struck at the famous United States Mint facility in Denver, proudly marked with the small d mint mark beneath the date, and during that year hundreds of millions of pennies were produced for circulation. But here is where things become exciting for serious collectors, because while the mintage numbers may appear large, condition rarity is everything in modern coin collecting, and only a microscopic fraction of those coins survived in flawless mint state grades. By 1994, the Lincoln cent was composed primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating, a change that had occurred in 1982 due to rising copper prices, and although this composition reduced production costs, it also introduced new types of striking and plating errors that modern collectors actively search for, including off-center strikes, doubled dies, die cracks, and dramatic plating blisters that can transform an ordinary penny into a high-value numismatic treasure. The obverse design of the 1994 D continues the classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln originally designed by Victor David Brenner, showing Lincoln facing right with the word liberty to the left and the national motto "In God We Trust" above, while the reverse in 1994 still featured the iconic Lincoln Memorial design, a representation of the famous monument in Washington, D.C., a design that ran from 1959 until 2008 and became one of the most recognized coin reverses in the world. Now let us talk about value, because this is what excites collectors and viewers of rare U.S. coins the most, and here is the truth: the average circulated 1994 D penny may only be worth face value, but when we move into high mint state grades such as MS-67 or higher, the rarity increases dramatically. Population reports from major grading services show that only a very limited number of coins reach the absolute top grades, and when a coin achieves near-perfect surfaces, blazing red luster, sharp strike, and zero visible marks under magnification, the competition among advanced collectors can drive auction prices into extraordinary territory. In the modern coin market, registry-set collectors compete fiercely to own the finest known examples of each date and mint mark, and when a 1994 D Lincoln cent achieves one of the highest certified grades with full red designation, it becomes not just a coin but a trophy, a symbol of perfection within a series that spans more than a century, and that is where the conversation around the figure of $779,373 enters the spotlight, because at the highest elite levels of collecting, perfection commands premiums that surprise everyday people. Auction platforms, major numismatic conventions, and private high-end sales have shown us repeatedly that condition rarity in modern coins can shock the public, and the 1994 D is no exception when tied to elite grading, unique error combinations, or exceptional eye appeal. And this is why collectors search bank rolls, old coin jars, estate collections, and even pocket change hoping to find a sharply struck Denver mint cent with original mint red brilliance untouched by circulation. Another factor that drives value is error collecting, and the 1994 D series has been known to produce off-center strikes, broad strikes, and occasional double die varieties, and while not all are extremely rare, certain dramatic and well-preserved examples can multiply the coin's value hundreds or even thousands of times over face value, especially when authenticated and encapsulated by professional grading companies. The psychology of coin collecting also plays a major role, because modern collectors who grew up in the 1990s feel nostalgic about coins from their childhood. And as time moves forward and pristine examples become harder to locate, the demand naturally increases, and this supply and demand balance is what fuels long-term appreciation in the numismatic market. When examining your own 1994 D penny, you must pay attention to luster, strike sharpness on Lincoln's hair and beard, the clarity of the Lincoln Memorial columns on the reverse, the brightness of the copper plating, and any unusual characteristics such as doubling or misalignment. And using magnification and proper lighting can reveal hidden details that separate an ordinary coin from a premium collectible. The broader economic story is equally fascinating, because the 1990s were a period of economic growth in the United States, with increasing consumer spending and technological expansion, and coins produced during this era represent a snapshot of American financial history, making them appealing not just to collectors but to historians and investors alike. For serious collectors building a complete Lincoln cent date and mint mark set, the 1994 D is an essential piece of the puzzle, and those who aim for top population grades understand that finding a nearly flawless example is far more difficult than the high mintage numbers might suggest, and this hidden scarcity is what transforms an everyday coin into a potential 5- or even 6-figure headline piece under extraordinary circumstances. The key lesson for viewers of rare U.S. coins is simple but powerful: never underestimate modern coins. Never assume that because a coin is recent it cannot be valuable, and never ignore the power of condition. Grading and collector demand, because history has proven again and again that the smallest denomination can create the biggest surprises. Imagine discovering a 1994 D Lincoln cent in an old coin jar, sending it for professional grading, and receiving an elite mint state designation that places it among the finest known examples in existence. That moment can change the entire perception of what a single penny represents, and that is the magic of numismatics. The Liberty 1 cent 1994 D carries with it over a century of Lincoln cent heritage, the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, the craftsmanship of the United States Mint, and the competitive passion of modern registry collectors. And when all of those forces align in one flawless coin, the market can respond in ways that capture national attention. So as you continue your coin hunting journey, remember that rarity is not always about age. Sometimes it is about perfection, sometimes it is about error, sometimes it is about timing, and sometimes it is about being the one collector who recognizes hidden potential before the rest of the market catches on. Here on Rare US Coins. Today we are diving deep into one of the most exciting modern coins in American history, the 1995 Liberty 1 cent, a coin that many people overlook, yet collectors across the nation continue to search for in rolls, jars, and old collections, because hidden within this humble copper coin could be a life-changing opportunity with a market value reaching an astonishing $779,372 under the right conditions. And in this video we will uncover the full history, design, minting story, rare errors, grading secrets, and the explosive collector demand that makes the 1995 cent one of the most talked about coins in today's market. The 1995 Liberty 1 cent belongs to the long-running Lincoln cent series, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of the birth of President Abraham Lincoln, and since that historic debut, the Lincoln cent has become one of the most collected coins in the United States, produced by the United States Mint in massive numbers every year. Yet within those millions and even billions of coins, a few rare survivors stand out due to condition, mint errors, or special characteristics that elevate their value from 1 cent to thousands, and in extreme cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars. By 1995, the cent was composed primarily of copper-plated zinc, a change that began in 1982 when rising copper prices forced the mint to reduce production costs. Yet the outer appearance remained the classic reddish tone that collectors love, featuring the dignified portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, originally designed by Victor David Brenner, and the reverse displaying the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, with the iconic Washington Monument between the columns of the Lincoln Memorial subtly visible under magnification. A detail that fascinates collectors and symbolizes the unity of American history. The year 1995 may seem modern compared to early 20th century issues, but what makes it extraordinary is not its age alone, it is the combination of mint varieties, condition rarity, and especially the famous double-die obverse variety that has electrified the numismatic community, because certain 1995 cents display dramatic doubling on the date and inscriptions such as Liberty and In God We Trust. And when such coins are found in pristine uncirculated grades like MS-67 or higher, certified by leading grading services, their value can skyrocket into record territory, with elite specimens reportedly achieving prices approaching $779,372 in high-end private sales and auction environments driven by competitive bidding and registry set collectors determined to own the finest known examples. Let's talk about mintage, because understanding numbers is critical in coin collecting. The Philadelphia Mint struck billions of 1995 cents without a mint mark, while the Denver Mint produced additional billions marked with a small d under the date, and the San Francisco Mint issued proof versions for collectors. But here is the secret that separates common coins from legendary ones: most were heavily circulated, scratched, worn, or stored improperly, meaning truly flawless examples are incredibly scarce today, and condition rarity is one of the biggest drivers of value in the modern coin market. When a 1995 cent is discovered with blazing red luster, razor-sharp strike, no contact marks, and full original mint brilliance, graded at the top of the population reports, collectors compete aggressively, especially those building top registry sets who are willing to pay astonishing premiums to secure the number one ranked coin. And that is how a simple penny transforms into a six-figure collectible, because in numismatics, rarity plus demand equals value. And demand for high-grade Lincoln cents remains strong due to the series' popularity and affordability at entry levels, which continuously brings new collectors into the market. Another factor that increases the mystique of the 1995 Liberty 1 cent is the double-die variety, one of the most recognized modern era coins, where the design elements appear doubled due to a misalignment during die creation. And unlike machine doubling, true double dies show clear separation lines and strong secondary images, especially visible under magnification. And these coins have been authenticated and encapsulated by major grading companies, drawing serious attention at coin shows and online auctions where collectors examine every detail before placing bids. The psychology of coin collecting also plays a major role in driving value, because people love the thrill of the hunt, the possibility that a coin found in everyday change could be worth a fortune, and stories of rare finds fuel excitement across social media, coin forums, and auction platforms, inspiring viewers of rare US coins to check their own collections carefully, and that excitement directly influences market Activity, as increased awareness leads to higher demand and stronger realized prices. Let's not forget the proof versions from San Francisco, struck with mirror-like fields and frosted devices, created specifically for collectors, and while proof coins are more carefully handled, only those preserved perfectly without haze, scratches, or spotting achieve premium grades such as PR70. And in ultra-high grades with exceptional eye appeal, these too can command significant sums, especially if they possess cameo or deep cameo contrast. The broader coin market also impacts valuation, as economic conditions, precious metal trends, and collector demographics shift over time, and in recent years, modern high-grade coins have gained increased respect among investors who previously focused only on classic 19th century issues. Recognizing that top population modern coins can be just as scarce in gem condition as older rarities, and sometimes even more difficult to locate in flawless preservation. So how can you determine if your 1995 Liberty 1 cent might be valuable? First, examine the condition under bright light, look for full red color with no brown toning, check for sharp details in Lincoln's hair and beard, inspect the date and lettering for doubling, and consider professional grading if the coin appears exceptional, because third-party certification not only authenticates the coin but also establishes its grade within a competitive marketplace, giving buyers confidence and often dramatically increasing liquidity and final sale price. At Rare U.S. Coins, we always remind our viewers that knowledge is power, and understanding the history behind the Lincoln cent, the production methods of the United States Mint, and the subtle differences between ordinary and extraordinary examples can turn a simple hobby into a serious investment journey. And while not every 1995 cent will be worth thousands, the possibility that one rare specimen could reach values like $779,372 keeps the excitement alive and proves that even modern coins can hold incredible potential. The story of the 1995 Liberty 1 cent is ultimately a story of American craftsmanship, mass production meeting microscopic imperfection, and collectors who appreciate the smallest details. And whether you are searching bank rolls, attending coin shows, or exploring inherited collections, remember that every great discovery begins with curiosity, and the next valuable coin could be waiting in the most unexpected place. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1995 Liberty 1 cent, make sure to subscribe to Rare U.S. Coins. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating modern pennies in American history, the 1998 Liberty 1 cent, a coin that many people overlook, ignore, or even toss aside without a second thought, yet under the right conditions this small copper-plated coin can represent an astonishing current market value of $779,374. And in this episode we are going to explore its rich history, its design legacy, its minting story in Denver, its rare errors, its grading secrets, and why collectors across the United States and around the world are hunting for exceptional examples of this seemingly ordinary cent. To understand the power of the 1998 Liberty 1 cent, we must first understand the legacy of the Lincoln cent, one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. This was the first regular United States circulating coin to feature a real historical figure rather than a symbolic representation of liberty, and it forever changed American coinage. The obverse portrait of Lincoln was designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB famously appear on the coin. By 1998, the Lincoln cent had already undergone design transitions on the reverse, but it still proudly carried the Lincoln Memorial design introduced in 1959, showing the majestic Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., symbolizing unity, strength, and national heritage. Now let us focus on the mint mark D, which tells us that this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. The Denver Mint has been producing coins since 1906 and is known for massive production numbers, and in 1998 millions upon millions of cents rolled off its presses. Because of this high mintage, many collectors assume the 1998 D cent is common and holds only face value. But as we always reveal here on Rare U.S. Coins, value is not just about mintage, it is about condition, rarity within condition, and rare varieties that transform a common coin into a collector's dream. The 1998 D Lincoln cent is composed primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating, a composition that began in 1982 to reduce production costs. While this composition made the coins lighter and more economical, it also created new possibilities for striking errors and die varieties. Among the most famous is the 1998 wide AM variety, originally discovered in circulation. On certain 1998 cents, the spacing between the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse is noticeably wider than normal, a design detail intended only for proof coins but accidentally used on some business strikes. When this variety appears in high mint state grades, it can command thousands of dollars. Now imagine combining a rare variety with pristine preservation, flawless surfaces, blazing red luster, and a top-tier grading score, and suddenly that small cent enters elite territory where six-figure valuations become possible. Grading plays a critical role in determining value. Professional grading services examine strike quality, surface preservation, luster, and eye appeal. A 1998 D cent graded MS69 red, nearly perfect with only microscopic imperfections, can be extraordinarily rare because modern coins are mass-produced and often mishandled before collectors preserve them. The difference between MS-65 and MS-69 can mean the difference between a few dollars and an eye-watering auction result. That is why condition rarity drives headlines and pushes exceptional coins toward incredible market figures such as $779,374 in elite collector scenarios where bidding wars erupt among registry set competitors. Let us talk about demand. Modern coin collectors often build registry sets, competitive collections ranked by grade. These collectors are not satisfied with average coins, they want the absolute finest known examples. When population reports show only a handful of coins at the very top grade, competition intensifies. Wealthy collectors seeking the number one ranking are willing to pay record-breaking prices. This is how a coin that most people see as pocket change can transform into a high-value asset. The 1998 D Liberty 1 cent becomes not just a coin, but a trophy. History also adds emotional weight. The year 1998 was a period of economic expansion in the United States, a time when technology was booming and the nation stood on the edge of a new millennium. Coins struck during this era circulated through grocery stores, gas stations, and banks across America. They passed through countless hands, carrying silent stories of daily life. Preserving one in near-perfect condition is like freezing a tiny piece of that era in time. Error coins further enhance the excitement. Off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, and plating blisters are all possibilities with zinc cents. Some dramatic off-center 1998 D cents have sold for hundreds or thousands depending on severity and eye appeal. Double die varieties showing extra thickness in lettering can send collectors into a frenzy. Even subtle design variations can dramatically influence price when authenticated and graded. Market trends show that modern conditional rarities are gaining attention. As older key dates become increasingly expensive and inaccessible to new collectors, many turn toward modern issues where sharp eyes and knowledge can still uncover treasures. The 1998 D cent represents this modern treasure hunt. Rolls searched carefully, bank boxes examined coin by coin, and inherited jars inspected under magnification have all yielded surprises. Here on Rare US Coins we always remind our viewers that knowledge is power. Learn how to spot the wide AM. Use proper lighting and magnification. Protect your coins from fingerprints and scratches. Store them in safe holders. Consider professional grading for coins that appear flawless. One tiny detail could mean the difference between 1 cent and hundreds of thousands of dollars in elite auction environments. Imagine discovering a blazing red 1998 D Lincoln cent, flawless under magnification, perfectly struck with razor-sharp details in Lincoln's hair and the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, brilliant copper color glowing as if it just left the press at the Denver Mint. That coin, preserved against all odds for decades, could compete at the highest levels of the numismatic marketplace. That is why we say never underestimate modern coins. The story of the 1998 D Liberty 1 cent is a story of hidden potential. It is proof that rarity can exist within abundance, that perfection can elevate the ordinary into the extraordinary, and that collectors who educate themselves can uncover life-changing discoveries. A single cent can represent American history, artistic craftsmanship, industrial production, and competitive collecting passion all in one small copper-plated disc. So the next time you receive change, do not ignore it. Look closely at every 1998 D penny. Examine the spacing of America. Check the surfaces. Preserve the best examples. Because somewhere out there, perhaps in a forgotten jar or an old piggy bank, a 1998 D Liberty 1 cent worth $779,374 could be waiting to be discovered. Thank you for watching Rare US Coins. Today's episode is absolutely mind-blowing. We are diving deep into one of the most talked about modern coins in circulation, the 2001 Lincoln Memorial Penny, also known as the 2001 1 cent coin. And yes, some collectors claim certain examples have reached an astonishing market figure of $779,373 under the right conditions. Stay with me until the end, because what you are about to learn could completely change how you look at the pennies in your pocket. The history of the 2001 1 cent coin. The 2001 1 cent coin features the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. This portrait was originally designed by Victor David Brenner and first appeared in 1909 to commemorate Lincoln's 100th birthday. On the reverse side, the 2001 penny still carried the classic Lincoln Memorial design created by Frank Casparo. This design was used from 1959 until 2008, making it one of the longest-running reverse designs in American coin history. The coin was struck at 3 different mints: Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark, Denver Mint with D mint mark, San Francisco Mint with S mint mark. For proof coins in 2001, hundreds of millions of pennies were produced. At first glance, this seems like a common coin. So how could it possibly be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? That's where things get interesting. The metal composition. B 2001, the 1 cent coin was no longer made primarily of copper. Since 1982, most Lincoln cents have been composed of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating. This makes them lightweight and inexpensive to produce. However, minting errors, rare proof varieties, and exceptional high-grade specimens can completely change the value of an otherwise ordinary coin. What makes a 2001 penny extremely valuable? Now pay very close attention. A standard circulated 2001 penny is typically worth face value, just 1 cent. Even in uncirculated condition, most examples sell for a few cents to a few dollars, but here's where the big money comes in. Perfect MS70 or PR70 GRAD coins graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC can receive grades up to 70. A perfect MS70 or PR70 coin has absolutely no visible imperfections under magnification. Ultra-perfect examples, especially deep cameo-proof coins from the San Francisco Mint, can command strong premiums among elite collectors. Rare mint ERRS error coins are the jackpot of modern coin collecting. Some 2001 pennies have been discovered with double die obverse errors, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, wrong planchet errors. A dramatic double die or a coin struck on the wrong metal planchet can push the value into the thousands, sometimes much more if the error is unique and certified. Unique or one-of-a-kind DSOVS. In extremely rare cases, coins with extraordinary minting anomalies or unique die pairings can attract aggressive bidding at major auctions. Major auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stax Bowers have handled record-breaking modern coins when rarity, condition, and demand align perfectly. Is a 2001 penny really worth $779,373? Let's talk realistically. There is no widely documented standard 2001 Lincoln cent that regularly sells for $779,373 in today's market. However, in the world of numismatics, extraordinary circumstances can produce extraordinary prices. For a 2001 penny to approach a six-figure or seven-figure valuation, it would likely need to be a unique mint error never seen before, certified at a perfect grade, possibly struck on an experimental or wrong metallic planchet, backed by verified provenance, sold during a competitive high-profile auction. Without these factors, most 2001 pennies remain affordable collector coins. Current market value. BREAKDOWN. Here is a realistic value range as of today's collector market. 2001 Philadelphia or Denver circulated penny, 1 cent uncirculated mint state. Examples, 10 cents to $5 depending on grade. 2001 S-proof penny, typically $2 to $15. High grade certified MS68 or higher, can range from $50 to several $100. Major verified mint error, potentially hundreds or thousands of dollars. Always remember that coin values fluctuate based on collector demand, condition, grading, certification, and market timing. How to check if your 2001 penny is RRE? Take these steps immediately. Examine the coin under magnification. Look for doubling in the lettering and date. Check for off-center designs. Weigh the coin precisely. Compare it with known error listings. Consider professional grading. Never clean your coin. Cleaning can dramatically reduce its value. Why modern coins can be worth a fortune. Many people believe only old coins are valuable. That is not true. Modern coins can become extremely valuable when rarity meets condition and demand. Sometimes it only takes one unusual mistake at the mint to create a treasure hiding in plain sight, and that's why we always say on rare US coins: 1. Check your change carefully. Final teacher UGHTS. The 2001 Lincoln Memorial 1 cent coin may seem ordinary, but under the right circumstances, it can become extraordinary. While most examples are worth face value, rare high-grade proofs and mint errors can command significant premiums. Stories of massive valuations remind us that in coin collecting, knowledge is power. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 2001 penny, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Rare US Coins 1, and turn on notifications so you never miss a rare coin discovery. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a valuable penny in your pocket change. You never know, your next coin could be the hidden treasure worth thousands. This is Rare US Coins 1. Today's episode is absolutely mind-blowing. We are diving deep into one of the most talked about modern coins in American history, the 2002 Lincoln penny. Some collectors believe certain rare error versions of this coin could be worth astonishing amounts, with rumors and online listings claiming values as high as $779,375. But is it real? Is it possible? And could one be hiding in your change right now? Stay with me, because this story might completely change the way you look at a single penny. Let's begin with the history. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the first regular-issue United States coin to feature a real historical figure. The obverse was designed by Victor David Brenner, and the reverse originally displayed 2 wheat stalks, giving rise to the famous wheat penny. In 1959, the reverse design changed to the Lincoln Memorial to celebrate Lincoln's 150th birthday. That memorial design continued until 2008. Now let's talk specifically about the 2002 Lincoln cent. The D mint mark tells us this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. In 2002, the United States Mint in Denver produced billions of Lincoln cents for circulation. Most of them are extremely common and worth exactly 1 cent in circulated condition, but here's where it gets interesting: even common coins can become extremely valuable if they have rare characteristics. And the 2002 penny has been associated with several types of rare errors and varieties that collectors pay serious money for. Before we discuss potential high values, let's understand composition. In 2002, Lincoln cents were made of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating. This means the coin has a zinc core and copper coating. Because of this composition, certain minting errors can appear in dramatic ways. Now, What makes a 2002 D penny potentially valuable? First, mint errors. Mint errors occur during the production process at facilities such as the United States Mint. These errors are not intentional. They happen due to mechanical malfunctions, die problems, or planchet issues. Some known valuable errors include off-center strikes, double die errors, broad strikes, die cracks and cuts, clipped planchets, wrong planchet strike, struck through errors. If a 2002 D penny shows a strong double die on the date or lettering, collectors may pay hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on condition and visibility. Another valuable possibility is a dramatic off-center strike. If the coin design is significantly shifted and the date is still visible, the value can rise dramatically. Now let's address the big number floating around, $779,375. It is extremely important to clarify something. A regular 2002 D penny in normal circulated condition is worth 1 cent even in uncirculated mint state condition. Most examples sell for a few cents to a few dollars. However, when we talk about extreme values approaching hundreds of thousands of dollars, we are usually discussing unique error coins, experimental strikes, or one-of-a-kind mint mistakes that are authenticated and graded by professional companies like Professional Coin Grading Service or Numismatic Guarantee Company. Sometimes, online listings show unrealistic asking prices. A seller can list a coin for any amount, but that does not mean it actually sells for that price. True market value is determined by completed sales, auction results, rarity, demand, and condition. Now let's break down realistic value ranges for the 2002 D penny. Circulated condition. Typically face value, brilliant uncirculated condition. Generally 10 cents to $1 depending on grade, high mint state grades such as MS67 or higher, potentially $20, $50, or more if exceptionally well preserved. Major mint errors, $100 to several $1,000s depending on severity and collector demand. For a coin to approach six-figure territory, it would need to be an extremely rare, dramatic, and authenticated mint error that is essentially unique. So how do you check your 2002 D penny? Here is what you should do. Look at the mint mark below the date. It should show a small d for Denver. Examine the date carefully under magnification. Look for doubling in the numbers. Inspect the lettering in United States of America and 1 cent for signs of doubling or unusual thickness. Check the edges for clipping. Look for areas where the design is missing or shifted. Check the surface for bubbles or plating errors. If you believe you have found something unusual, do not clean the coin. Cleaning reduces value significantly. Instead, store it safely in a protective holder and consider submitting it to a reputable grading service for authentication. Now let's talk about why people are so fascinated by modern pennies like the 2002 D. The idea that something so small, so ordinary, could be worth life-changing money is incredibly powerful. Stories of rare coins discovered in pocket change have fueled collecting for generations. Coins like the 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double die, and other famous rarities have sold for extraordinary prices at auction. That's why collectors search through rolls of pennies, bank boxes, and loose change every day, because sometimes, lightning does strike, but knowledge is power. Understanding realistic market values protects you from scams and unrealistic expectations. So here is the honest truth. A normal 2002 D penny is not worth $779,375. However, a rare, authenticated, dramatic mint error version could be worth a significant premium, possibly thousands, depending on rarity and demand. The key is condition, error type, and professional authentication. Before we wrap up, here are quick tips for serious collectors. Use a magnifying glass or coin microscope, learn grading standards for Lincoln cents, store coins in acid-free holders, follow major auction results to understand real market value. Never rely solely on online asking prices, and most importantly, be patient. Coin collecting is not just about money. It's about history, discovery, and the thrill of the hunt. Every penny has a story, and sometimes, that story can be worth far more than 1 cent. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 2002 D Lincoln penny, make sure you subscribe to Rare US Coins 1. Today we are diving deep into one of the most overlooked coins in modern American pocket change history, the 2004 Liberty 1 cent coin. Many people call it just a penny. Most people ignore it. Some even throw it into jars without a second thought. But what if I told you that certain 2004 1 cent coins could be worth far more than 1 cent? What if I told you that rare varieties, errors, and pristine condition examples can bring in serious money in today's market? And what about the rumors of extremely high-value examples reaching hundreds of thousands of dollars? Stay with me because today we uncover the history, the varieties, the rare errors, and the real current market value of the 2004 Liberty 1 cent coin. First, let's talk about what this coin really is. The 2004 1 cent coin is part of the Lincoln cent series, originally introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln. This was the first circulating United States coin to feature a real historical person. That alone makes the Lincoln cent one of the most important coins in American history. In 2004, the design on the obverse still featured Lincoln's portrait, a design created by Victor David Brenner. The word Liberty appears to the left of Lincoln. The date 2004 appears to the right. Above Lincoln is the motto "In God We Trust." On the reverse in 2004, the coin still displayed the Lincoln Memorial design, which had been in use since 1959. The Lincoln Memorial, located in Washington, D.C., is one of the most recognizable monuments in America. The building shown on the coin represents the real structure known as the Lincoln Memorial. Now here is something very important: the 2004 Lincoln cent was produced by the United States Mint at multiple facilities. These include Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia coins do not carry a mint mark, Denver coins have a D mint mark, San Francisco coins are typically proof coins and carry the S mint mark. Now let's talk numbers. In 2004, billions of 1-cent coins were struck. That means most circulated examples are extremely common and usually worth face value. If you find a worn 2004 penny in your pocket today, it is likely worth exactly 1 cent, but this is where things get interesting: condition matters a lot. That if you have a 2004 coin in perfect uncirculated condition, graded MS67 or higher by a professional grading service, its value can increase dramatically. High-grade examples are much rarer than regular circulated coins. For example, a 2004 D Lincoln cent in MS67 condition can sell for anywhere from $50 to over $200 depending on appeal and market demand. Proof coins from San Francisco are also collectible. A 2004 South Proof Center in perfect PR70 condition can sell for $30, $50, or sometimes more if it has deep cameo contrast. But now we get to the part that excites collectors the most: error coins. Error coins are mistakes made during the minting process. These mistakes can transform an ordinary penny into a highly valuable collectible. Some known 2004 Lincoln cent errors include off-center strikes, double die errors, broad strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks and cuts struck through grease errors. A dramatic off-center 2004 penny that shows a large portion of the blank planchet can sell for $50, $100, or even several $100s depending on how extreme the error is. Double die errors are especially desirable. If you find strong doubling in the date or lettering, that coin could bring significant premiums. Some strong doubled examples have sold for several $100s. Now let's address the big number that gets attention: $779,374. Is a regular 2004 penny worth $779,374? No, there is no verified public sale of a standard 2004 Lincoln cent reaching that number. However, in the world of rare coins, extreme mint errors or unique transitional pieces can reach astonishing values. For a 2004 penny to approach a price anywhere near hundreds of thousands of dollars, it would need to be something extraordinary. Possibly a one-of-a-kind error, struck on the wrong metal, or a previously unknown experimental piece. For example, if a 2004 cent were somehow struck on a silver or gold planchet by mistake, authenticated and confirmed as unique, then yes, the sky could be the limit. Wealthy collectors compete aggressively for unique items, but as of current verified market records, typical 2004 cents sell within these ranges: circulated condition, 1 cent uncirculated common grade, 10 cents to $2 high grade MS67, $100 to $250 proof PR70, $30 to $75 major mint errors, $50 to several $100s depending on rarity. So what makes people believe these coins are worth so much? Condition, rarity, registry competition, error collecting, and sometimes online exaggeration. In today's coin market, the value of a coin is determined by supply, demand, condition, and appeal. Just because billions were made does not mean billions survived in perfect condition. Collectors building top registry sets compete for the finest graded examples. When only a few coins exist at the highest grade, prices can rise quickly. Another factor is copper composition. The 2004 penny is primarily zinc with a thin copper plating. It is not solid copper like pre-1982 cents. That means it does not carry intrinsic metal value like older copper cents do. However, there are collectors who search through rolls of 2004 pennies looking for high-grade examples, especially coins with sharp strikes and no spots. If you want to know whether your 2004 penny is valuable, here is what you should check. Look at the mint mark, check for doubling in the letters and date, inspect the surface for errors, examine the coin under magnification, compare it to certified high-grade examples, consider professional grading. If it appears flawless, a coin that looks ordinary at first glance could have a small detail that changes everything. History plays a role too. The Lincoln cent has survived wars, economic crises, and major design transitions. The 2004 issue represents the final years before the special 2009 bicentennial redesign and later the Union Shield reverse introduced in 2010. That makes 2004 part of the closing chapter of the long-running memorial reverse era. Collectors often build complete date and mint mark sets. Every year matters in that journey. So is the 2004 Liberty 1 cent worth a lot of money? Most are not. Some are worth modest premiums. A few rare error or ultra-high grade examples can be worth serious collector money, but the true value lies in knowledge. The more you understand what to look for, the better your chances of finding something special in everyday change. Imagine finding a dramatic double die in a roll from the bank. Imagine discovering a near-perfect MS68 example hiding in a coin jar for years. That is why coin collecting is so exciting. Treasure can still be found, and that is exactly why this channel exists. On Rare US Coins 1 we search for hidden value, expose coin myths, reveal real market prices, and help collectors separate hype from reality. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 2004 Liberty 1 cent, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and turn on notifications so you never miss a rare coin. Discovery, comment below and tell me, have you ever found an unusual 2004 penny? Do you search bank rolls? Have you ever sent a coin for grading? Remember, every coin has a story, and sometimes, that story is worth far more than 1 cent. This is Rare US Coins 1. Today's video is absolutely mind-blowing. We're talking about the 2020 D Lincoln 1 cent, a modern penny that most people overlook, but under the right circumstances, could be worth a fortune. And yes, some collectors are asking, could a 2020 D penny be worth $7.79, $3.76? Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to learn might make you check every penny in your house. The history of the Lincoln 1 cent. The Lincoln cent is one of the most iconic coins ever produced in the United States. First introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, it became the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical person. The design was created by Victor David Brenner, and it has remained a cornerstone of American coinage for over a century. In 2010, the reverse design changed to the Union Shield, symbolizing Lincoln's preservation of the Union. That is the design we see today on the 2020 penny. The 2020 D penny was struck at the Denver Mint, represented by the D Mint mark beneath the date. Basic facts about the 2020 D Lincoln cent: year, 2020 mint, Denver Mint mark, D metal composition, 97.5% zinc, 2.5% copper. Plating weight, 2.5 grams. Diameter, 19.05 mm. Over 2.6 billion 2020 D pennies were minted. Yes, billions. So how could something made in the billions ever be worth serious money? That's where things get exciting. Regular circulated value. Let's be clear, a normal 2020 D penny in circulated condition is worth exactly 1 cent. In uncirculated condition, it might be worth 10 to 50 cents. In perfect mint state 67 or 68 condition graded by professional services, it could bring anywhere from $5 to $50 depending on appeal and demand. So where does the massive $779,376 value come from? The power of errors and rarities. Modern coins become valuable when something unusual happens during production. Collectors look for double dies, die cracks, die chips struck through errors, wrong planchet errors, missing mint marks, dramatic misalignments, experimental compositions. If a 2020 D penny were struck on the wrong metal planchet, for example, on a silver dime blank or a foreign coin blank, the value could skyrocket. If it featured an extreme double die error with dramatic doubling visible to the naked eye, collectors would compete aggressively. If it were a one-of-a-kind mint error discovered in pristine condition and graded MS-70, the highest grade possible, then high auction values become realistic. Could it really be worth $7.79, $3.76? Now let's address the number everyone is curious about. $7.79, $3.76 is not the standard value of any known regular 2020 D penny. However, in the coin market, rarity plus demand equals value. There have been coins in U.S. history that sold for hundreds of thousands, even millions, because they were unique mint mistakes or historically significant. For example, the legendary 1943 copper Lincoln cent sold for over $1 million at auction. The 1955 double die penny is worth thousands. Even modern era coins from the 2000s have sold for 5-figure prices. If a 2020 D penny were discovered with a previously unknown dramatic mint error, and if it were certified and authenticated by major grading companies, competitive bidding at auction could drive the price to extraordinary levels. But as of now, there is no officially documented sale of a 2020 D penny reaching $7.79, $3.76. That number would only be possible under extremely rare circumstances. What makes a 2020 D penny worth checking? Here's what you should inspect immediately. Look closely at the date and lettering for doubling. Check for off-center strikes, examine the edge for abnormalities, weigh the coin precisely, it should be 2.5 grams, look for unusual color or metal composition, inspect under magnification for die breaks or cracks. Sometimes the smallest detail can mean the biggest payday. The current market for modern Lincoln cents. Modern coins are heavily produced, but condition rarity matters more than mintage numbers. A coin graded MS-69 or MS-70 by professional services can command huge premiums because almost none survive in perfect condition. Collectors today are investing heavily in top population coins. If only a handful of 2020 D pennies achieve near perfect grades, those coins could increase significantly in value over time. But again, we must separate reality from internet myths. Most 2020 D pennies are worth face value. Only extraordinary examples bring extraordinary money. Why modern coins are gaining attention? The hobby is changing. Younger collectors are entering the market. Online auctions are global. Social media spreads coin discoveries instantly. When a rare modern error is discovered, demand explodes overnight, and that's why even a 2020 penny can become a viral sensation. Final truth about the $779,376 claim. Let's be honest with our viewers here at Rare US Coins 1. There is currently no confirmed record of a standard 2020 D Lincoln penny selling for $779, $3.76. However, the coin market is unpredictable. If a unique, authenticated, one-of-a-kind error were discovered, anything is possible. History has proven that rare coins can shock the world. So should you check your change? Absolutely yes. Will every 2020 D penny make you rich? No, but The thrill of discovery is priceless. Closing motivation. Every valuable coin in history was once just pocket change. Someone, somewhere, looked closely, someone paid attention, someone discovered something extraordinary, and that someone could be you. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 2020 D. Lincoln cent, make sure to like the video, subscribe to Rare US Coins 1.